Phil, I'm a fan of you changing your background to match the movie.
I try. The little production.
Yeah.
Other shows and then us. Just
a little above. Yeah. Above. Primarily Critical. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Primarily Critical of Movie Time and After Party. This would be it.
If you have not seen this film, we suggest that you do so before listening any further.
Because we got spoilers, trivia, and opinions like crazy, and we can't wait to share them.
Good, bad, new, old, weird, or gross.
We will pass judgment on them all.
Today. Rule number 1, party. My name is Steve. I'm here with
Phil.
And John.
Today we're covering the Peanut Butter Falcon. I feel like I should have known about this, John. I feel like I should have known about this movie, but I was ignorant.
Well, me too. It would just happen upon it, but it's a diamond in the rough. I think.
I heard about it, and John, you've been on the Shia LaBeouf train lately, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the train ride.
Yeah.
He picks really awesome movies. I mean, there's some controversy surrounding them right now. We can get into that later, but the movie itself is really.
I love it. Like this. Okay, this is what I look for. This is exactly. I want to remember this movie because it's exactly what I look for in a movie. Is that you got good quality characters, a good solid storyline, and something. To me, that's what makes great movies, is that you got a good story and good characters, and it was well acted. I thought the acting was amazing, and so
and
put all that together, it's magic. You can't go wrong if you got those three things together in a good movie, and so
a very heartfelt, authentic movie. Very and I mean, how much more authentic can you get than casting a Down syndrome actor?
Yeah,
I mean, other movies have tried to put like Hollywood stars in the role. I am Sam. I'm not just.
yeah.
But hey, it's like we're picking some really
now listen. There's
good movies lately, I think. And Steve, go ahead.
There is some. I think there's some really good movies out there with mainstream actors playing bits that they're not afflicted with, like
real life,
Scent of a Woman, Al Pacino, My Left Foot. There was Forrest Gump.
One of my favorites.
Rain Man was a great movie, but maybe I don't want to get off topic.
But you bring up a good point. I mean, it's certainly, but there is something. It's different when you actually have the real deal. You know what I mean? It's a different. It's a different feel to it. I think.
Well,
it is.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but I think we have some good trivia coming up later, guys. So maybe I'll leave it for the trivia. But this movie, you'll understand when we talk about it later. Anyways, I mean, it's a very man. It's so gritty. It's a very gritty look at life in that part of the world, Florida, Louisiana. Where was it? Like, right?
Well, you feel like Florida, the bayou. You feel like baby, Louisiana. You get that.
Did you guys think like the people who were casted in this movie? It's not a very expensive movie that was made very cheaply by our standards today. But some of the cast was authentic. So, like, they look redneck is redneck.
What are you saying? Here?
I have no idea what you mean, Phil.
At that end of the movie with the wrestling, it's just some of the people hanging out the wrestling match.
Wasn't that Jake the Snake there?
Legitimately. Oh. Yeah. If I had a bone to pick, I thought the ending of the movie, I don't know how you saw the ending of the movie differently or not, but throughout the movie, there's no police really response, and in fact, like the lady she's on a mission to find this guy, and it seems like for a solid week.
Yeah.
The guy's been Zach, right? And half the time he's in his not diapers, sorry, his tidy whities. Why does it always have to be tidy whities in these movies? Like Rain Man was the same
standard issue.
Standard issue. He would get standard issue clothes. I mean, he's not shopping for himself. Someone's shopping for him. They're buying him the bulk pack of standard issue whitey tidy briefs. That's what poor Zach gets stuck with, right?
Yeah. And across the board, the wardrobe budget on this movie, but must have been zero. Like Shia's character is wearing the same beat up white shirt through the whole movie. He's got this worn out hat, like just authentic. Like
yeah, he brings one change of clothes and he has to give the whole thing to the to his sidekick, or maybe he was the sidekick. I don't know.
And I mean, have you seen a main lead actor in a movie? Shia's character, he kind of is a very irresponsibly a kind of a bad guy in a ways. He probably should do something.
He's the bad guy. Like he's a bit of a badass in life, right? But he's obviously got a really great heart, and the thing is, and this starts coming out through the movie, right? And I think it's endearing. I mean, I love the way that he starts telling him, like, you're not retarded. It's what matters is in here, and stuff. And so it starts showing his own, it starts showing Sheila LaBeouf's his own integrity himself. Like he doesn't judge people by the cover, he looks at people as takes them on their merit,
Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah. Oh, he was a refreshing character. Did you think they never really redeemed his character. He just kind of like kept going. And there's like redneck justice at the end. I don't even know if the police got involved with that, but.
Well, the police weren't involved because of her boss, right? Like that was a deliberate thing that he didn't want any bad publicity coming to the home where the old folks
very sketchy, right? That guy was dead, man. He was dead. If Shia's character, he didn't find him. He's a goner.
Well, Tyler had a death wish, right? I mean, he's got a heart of gold, but he
didn't give a fuck anymore, right?
He didn't give a fuck. He wanted to.
No,
he wanted to check out. Yeah,
I loved this. What I loved about this movie is that I had such a good giggle to myself at the time when I realized there's a carload of people that are taking this guy to fulfill his and you know why? Because it's the best thing they had going on in their lives. Their lives were all so friggin' shitty, right? They're like, this is the best thing that's happened to me in the last 10 years. Let's just go with it. Let's make this happen for this guy.
The caregiver lady, Eleanor Dakota Johnson. She made some bad life choices there at the end. I think I did not expect that ending. I thought he was dead. And I don't know what I kind of thought, but I wouldn't think she would go along with this and go out to Florida.
No, I think she made good life choices.
Yeah, she didn't like her job.
She didn't like her job. She's stuck in this bureaucracy, and she's seeing all these people that she doesn't like. She has no authority to change it. She's stuck in it, and she broke free. And they made their version of what a family is, and I thought it was great. I thought that was
it was not your traditional movie where you kind of like the love story was kind of weak at best. They kissed once, and at the end all of a sudden she's going off with them on some crazy life. He has nothing. He's just a hobo.
Yeah. I know.
I understand.
He could obviously feed himself.
Yeah, and he had a vision. He said he talked about his place, that he had a specific place in Florida where, and he knew how he'd feed himself and stuff, and definitely a simple life. But I think Dakota Johnson there, she was at her wit's end too. She thought, you know what, that sounds more like living than what I've been doing for my life. It sounds more like
they're
a
young,
good life.
Right? They're young people, and
they'll figure it out.
I mean,
does anyone want to talk about the fact that Zach was in a retirement home?
There's a fucked up situation, right? They tell you that somehow
Well,
he landed in that.
That's what the state could do. They just placed them wherever they.
This is a sad reality of there's people
Care homes?
that are on the cusp. There's personally, I don't have a real close, but my wife's family, there's more closer stuff situations I've dealt with this, is that people that are on the cusp that are functional enough to have dreams, wants, desires in the world, but just too dysfunctional to look after themselves, are extremely difficult in the system. The system is just simply not designed for those people, right? And it's impossible to find placements. Like if you're a drooling vegetable, no problem. There's a place for that, right? If you're so dysfunctional that you're just happy to see a piece of yarn in a day, there's places for that. But when you have dreams of like going to wrestling school or, and you're young, you got a whole life ahead of you. We really don't have facilities for these people. It is a problem, and it doesn't surprise me they end up in a retirement. Typically family ends up bearing the burden for that, right? If you want to call it a burden, some people call it a joy, right? But whatever you want to call it, typically family will.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't have any family, so it doesn't surprise me that he would end up in an old folks home. I mean, it's not he seemed to be doing it's probably as good as you could have found given the situation. I mean,
this the scene where he breaks out of the nursing home.
Just lather yourself up in this.
And the fact that he's
that was gold.
He spends the whole if I have to have some bones to pick about this movie, the realism factor in this movie kind of is like ridiculous. It's kind of like a fairy tale in some.
It is kind of like a fairy tale.
Because come on, man, he was in a basically tidy whities, walking bare feet in the heat of Florida, right, with no sunscreen, and then the worst of all, I got to bring this up. The whole moonshine thing where he's drunk till he's pass out drunk, this poor Zach.
Yeah.
I kept expecting him to fall in the fire. Yeah.
He's like, this is like, come on.
Yeah, they were playing with the fire too.
But, it was a fun movie it really touching.
It was, that old guy helped him bend the bars.
Yes.
To get out. And I was thinking after, like, all he had to do was remove that cloth.
Yeah.
It was a low budget movie.
And then
I think, actually, Steve,
his excuse might have been at least more plausible.
But he did when the cloth was gone when he said to the nurse.
Oh, was it?
Oh, it was gone. He said,
he made it look.
It wasn't.
He made it look like it was. It really happened. He didn't use technology or that was smart, ingenious. I love that.
Yeah.
But I think in that same scene, there was a window down the wall that looked like you could just walk out of that. He could have busted out of that one. Anyways, I mean, it was a low budget movie. I mean, like I said, the end scene with all the people gathering around for that wrestling match is like, everybody bring your redneck friend in the area. Let's go wrestle.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about the ending? Like, it was a kind of a talking about fairy tale. Like, it was. Did that really happen, or was this? What was that? Clear list. We mentioned that Jake the Snake and Mick Foley from people that are wrestling fans would recognize.
Yeah.
But Zach lifts him up over his head and tosses him out the ring.
It was almost comical, right?
It was comical. It fit right in with him when he shot the gun and he flew back like 15 feet, right? I mean, of course, that would never happen, right? But that was just a little bit of that comic,
you take a chance when you do something like that, like, because it's right at like. That's totally a comic gag, right? He threw the guy, and it was so obvious that it was fake. I thought he was going to throw one bad guy into the other bad guy.
I thought so, Steve.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. Yes,
but they went for it, man. It was brutal. Like, what's going to happen. I thought he was dead. Like, usually guys.
I thought he was dead too. I thought the next scene when they showed him, Zach and what's her. Yeah, I thought he was dead.
Like, at the funeral or something. Because come on, a crowbar, direct hit, not even blindsided, and you got to think he probably kept going. You get him once and just like, there must have been the police got involved. They don't go there. They just he wakes up with a bandage on his head in the back seat of the car.
And what the heart wrenching thing?
Who paid for the medical bills?
Taylor kind of deserved it. you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
did.
He
Did.
was
I mean,
he was stealing their catch, and then he burned all
you-
their property.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for maybe a scene where his brother died at some shenanigans from those guys or some payback, but there was none of that. He's just an asshole.
Yeah.
And he's mad because he lost his brother, and it was probably because he was drinking and driving, right? We get one scene.
Yeah, he was drinking and driving. Yeah, that's all we get. Yeah. Yeah.
Did Tyler ever tell the other characters about his brother?
I don't think
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. No, I don't think he did. No, as the viewer, we're privy to that, but not the other characters. No.
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch some of it, but boy, Shia, man.
You know, here's the thing: is I've watched this stuff go on in small towns, like out in Gimli. They have so many licenses to catch fish. Right? There's a limit. There's a quota.
So it's a real thing, right?
Yeah, it's a real thing. So people can sell their quotas. They can say, "Hey, I've owned this quota. I'm going to sell it now to this person, whatever." And it can get really ugly in small towns over stuff like that. It's gotten ugly in Gimli. People feel there's history that goes with these things, right? So it's kind of like
it's jobs, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and if somebody doesn't properly deal with their quotas before their death, my understanding is that it goes back to the government and it becomes a free for all.
So
but that's not typically, if you own a quota, you have the right to sell it and make that decision who gets it, right? So it's kind of like there's an unwritten rule. Now that's how it is in Canada. Now I'm assuming it's very similar in the States, and I'm assuming that's what happened here. So I'm thinking his brother died.
Yeah.
And in theory, his brother had every right. These quotas get passed from family to generation, right?
Yeah, they did.
Because his brother died, it fell back, and these guys went and gobbled it up quickly.
And he's pissed
which
off.
Is a really shitty move, right?
John, that makes sense because he's stealing traps. He thinks in his mind, that's my shit. That was my family.
It's exactly like that, though. That's exactly how that shit goes down. If someone's dad died in Gimli, who their family has been using that quota for, that's what their family, how they make their bread and butter, and somebody died, the dad dies, and he didn't actually put it in his will or didn't make provisions for that quota, and somebody came and snatched it up, you guarantee that that's like, oh my God, like that's going to be a feud in that town, and people will get hurt, right? So. Yeah. So this is what's the way I read that. That's exactly what had happened there. These guys went and snagged up a quota that rightfully should have been his, and he's furious.
You think they would have maybe made a stronger point of that as a motivation factor? Because you left feeling like he's just a dick.
Yeah, I feel like you're a smarter man than me, John.
Wow, that's John. That's like a
went right over my head.
Excellent.
Well, yeah, but I've had more exposure to that. Yeah,
like it's an excellent. Yeah, exactly. I can totally see that now, and it gives me a better. I like the guy more now. I get it. Tyler, good guy.
I have family friends who have chicken quotas, and it can get pretty. It can get pretty pretty messy.
Well, yeah. Here in Canada, a few months back, we had Nova Scotia had an issue with Indigenous rights and fishery. It was a mess. It was bad, and they resolved it for now. But it's tension constantly, right? Jobs are on the line, people's lives. Like it's. So the motivation for Tyler to do something like that makes sense now. So.
So that's why that didn't bother me at all. But I can see why not knowing that would bother you. It seemed just like, hey, they have the legal rights. He's just being an asshole, right? But no, I didn't see it that way. I saw it as like, fuck, they stole his quotas from his family. Like, fuck it, they go burn their shit. You know what I mean? Like,
oh man,
yeah, I agree. That's a great point. How are we doing on it? We want to.
I have a difficult question that I feel like I need to ask. We have people with mental handicaps in the city. I mean, how do you think you handle being around them? I know that I have no problem if I'm alone, and I'm on the bus and somebody's talking me up, but I do notice that there's a certain personal space issue And when my kids are with me, I can get very protective and nervous, you know, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it probably should be talked about. You know, this movie is supposed to inspire certain conversations, and I feel like this is
Well, I think making movies like this are very important to show people the real world. Like, this is not a Hollywood production here. It's just a really a good slice of life movie. Right?
This is
but with a little bit of fantasy. There definitely was some. It's crazy. Like, you're on a raft.
Well, I think what you're, you know, I mean, the thing is that when we're what we call so-called normal people, right? With which that use good common sense. There's a predictability. There's etiquette. There's things that you can predict and feel comfortable around that, right? Yeah. Often when you're dealing with mentally challenged people, they can break all kinds of these etiquettes that can throw us off our game, like and make us nervous. Like, I'm not sure how to, you know. But what I find is that if you actually spend time in that, it actually can be a lot of fun. It just it's a hump you got to get over. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
it's a gear shift or whatever.
Yeah, it's exactly. And once you get past it, it's like, hey, this is kind of a lot of fun. We're breaking norms here. Yeah, but you know, it's not dangerous, right? But our instincts say if you're breaking social norms, the danger, right? That's just our instincts. But you get past that, I think everyone's good. You know, I think it's and they should do that more often. Is get past those humps. I mean, it's normal to have those responses, but I think it's worthwhile to go beyond those too, you know.
I think I should spend more time with more different kinds of people. I'm sorry, Phil, go for it.
Steve, I gotta share. I'll try not to be long-winded about this, but back, like, goodness gracious, gotta think my time zones here, the timeline. 1993, 94. I was in a band, and we one of the members of the band he was relief to take care of a guy with I guess Down syndrome. I believe it, like he was there to just cover for a weekend now and then, right, as a relief for the person that did full time. So we got to, while we were playing together, practicing and hanging out, we hung out with this guy, and he was an awesome guy. And now that I think about it, we treated him like one of us, and he'd have a couple beers with us. He was allowed to, like, but he had limits, like, you know, you couldn't push him too hard. And it was an interesting time. We took him out to movies and stuff, but you could see, you know, like, he needed a lot of structure, and he needed to be, you know, it's a sad thing, like John said earlier, about how he just placed people and maybe they're not cared for, and it's just terrible. You know, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of support that's needed for people, and
everybody's unique, and they need very unique things too. Each of them, each of us.
Like, but movies like this expose that life, and we need more of these kind of, like, stories to, like, you know, and less, you know, like we joke about. This movie had a little budget. You could make a bunch of these movies for one big blockbuster piece of whatever.
Right. See, this is my point. You watch a movie like this, I feel like a better person for watching this, right? $150 million. I don't feel one iota like a better person for watching it. You know what I mean? It's like it didn't improve my life in any way, shape, or form.
You're talking about 6 Underground?
Yeah.
Well, hey.
Just to be clear.
There's a lot of those kind of movies out there. And I think the point is, like, but it's a business, guys, and it has to be a bottom line.
That's true.
It's sadly, that's probably what, but a lot of them, I love our picks sometimes, because we're picking these kind of movies. And we've done a lot of them recently. I think it's so good. Like, I could name off a bunch, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of serious life movies, not fantasy. It's good to do those other movies like 6 Underground, sorry, but they're you know, but
a time and a place for everything.
There is. I think we got a good healthy balance going on here. You know, we cover it all.
We're excellent at this. All right, should we get into this trivia?
Yeah.
All right. The movie came out because the directors met Zach Gottsagen at a camp for disabled and non-disabled people, and he expressed his desire to be a movie star. So the directors wrote the script around him, and Zach's hopes and dreams, and that bled into his script, and people they knew who would allow them to film for free and without permits.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
This is what
these are people in his life. These are people in his life.
This actually kind of fits into the movie, right? It's like
this is what I was saying. These
he
people
inspired them to, hey, we could do this for him. He wants to be a movie star. He wants to be a wrestler. Let's do it.
That's an awesome inspiration. And like I said earlier, I think these people are authentic because they are literally the people.
They're people around him. Yeah.
I absolutely love that piece. That's probably the best piece of trivia ever on any movie.
So this whole town probably knew him. And they're like, "You want to make a movie with Zach? Yeah, sure. Use my yard."
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that trivia.
That's nice.
Yeah. Perfect.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Zach Gottsagen ad-libbed the answer party. So when he was asked for the first time by Tyler what rule was number one. That's hilarious. That was just
he made that up. That was all him.
That's great.
They played off it for the rest of the movie.
I love that. Yeah. And he was, like I keep alluding to, he's in his freaking underwear for a lot of this movie. I mean, a lot of actors don't have to put up with that's a tough grind there.
Yeah.
Kudos to that guy, man. Wow, great job. I'll take the next, obviously, here. On July 30th, 2019, the Rudderman Family Foundation honored this movie with its seal of authentic representation for accurate depictions of people with disabilities. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's a gritty movie. It's not like a Disney movie about being disabled.
But they almost made it joking with the whole kickback gun thing and the
peanut butter.
Yeah. The peanut butter thing was very believable. Absolutely. Give me some moonshine and a bonfire. I'll spread whatever you want on my face. According to an interview Shia LaBeouf did with Collider, Ben Foster, who is somebody, was originally cast as Taylor, but dropped out last minute to spend some time with his pregnant wife, actress Laura Prepon, and their child. Foster then called LaBeouf and offered him the role and to take his place in the movie.
Well, I'm glad. Like I said, this is Shia LaBeouf. Now let's talk a little bit about him. I think this is we alluded to that at the beginning.
Yeah, you kind of have to. You got to mention this about him.
Okay, so the controversy about him, obviously, Honeyboy just depicts his young life, but the big controversy, plagiarism seems to be an issue that's followed him around. He's been accused of plagiarizing and stealing people's work and stuff, and it seems to me that could have led him into that he's kind of a Hollywood exile. Now, there's other things. He's been arrested, obviously, alcohol issues, drug issues.
But the biggest ones leveled at him. I don't have any of the articles on
spousal abuse is what you're going to go into.
Yeah, when you get into abuse, and one of the things that really, all of it bugs you if it's a sexual assault and assault, period. Now, this is all accusations and things. It's not proven in court. Let's say that much. But he could be blacklisted if he keeps going the way he's going, if he gets help. But
and there's controversy. There's arrests that actually were his last arrest, I think, was in December of 2020. So we're talking. Oh,
really?
Yeah. So it's not like he's just in the clear here,
No, he's
but
not good. It's not good. And he does great work, right? And you pull for him, but we'll see.
I'm pulling for him, and I hope for him. And I love these projects he's getting involved in, and I am my next pick. Just to let you know, is going to be with him in it as well.
Oh,
I'm kind of on a kick here. So, but yeah,
I bet I know
love what he's doing.
I'll wait till you pick, but I think I got a good idea.
I think he's doing what you do. It's the right decision. If you're blacklisted in Hollywood, you don't just lay down and die and cry. You know what I mean? There's independent movies being made all the time, and you get involved in them. You know, do something with it, right?
Yeah.
You know, your career doesn't have to die just because Hollywood says you're dead, right?
Well,
and I think he's doing that. You know, and I mean, yeah, maybe he's got issues, and we know. Let's face it, it's not an excuse, but he comes by them honestly. We watched Honeyboy. It's autobiographical. I mean,
yeah.
Guy has a lot of reason to be screwed up, you know, and so hopefully he can get his shit together. No excuse for the things he's done. Absolutely. I mean, you know,
you know, I always say where there's smoke, there could be fire, because when enough allegations come at you. But I don't know. Nothing's been proven in court as far as I know. So let's just say, hey, man, I hope he gets better, and I hope because he's really good.
He's really good.
He's really good.
And he's choosing great projects.
Yeah, and
great projects right now.
Yeah,
so I just wanted to keep doing that, and I'll always be a fan from that standpoint. You know,
he's an actor that captivates me because I don't know what I'm expecting. You know, other actors, you kind of know what you could expect. This guy is really a wild card. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
He was in the movie Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, that was his big Hollywood movie.
I wasn't a fan of him then, but maybe I need to rewatch that movie. It was
never seen it. Yeah.
It was a while back.
That's a part in his life, I'm sure. Maybe it was alluded to in the other movie we reviewed. Sorry, I forget the title. Honeyboy.
Honeyboy.
Yeah.
Because he did get the highest job in the land in that particular year. Come on, Indiana Jones. You're the son of Indiana Jones. He could have probably launched into a whole freaking
career. They wanted to pass the torch.
But he
ended up having a few too many issues going on.
He didn't want it. He had whatever. I mean, he had the brass golden ring, but he didn't.
He was the honey boy.
He was the honey boy.
He reached the pinnacle of his career. He could easily have went on to, but he was difficult. Whatever, how it shook down, but here we go.
He kind of seems like Mickey Rourke reincarnated. He's got that same kind of stuff going on. That he's great at what he does. He's got a good craft, but he's just a disaster, and he's gonna just keep bringing this stuff. These controversy and this horrible personal life.
I mean, he's not. It's sadly he's not the first, and he probably won't be the last. I hope he gets better, and I hope that whoever his accusers, I hope. It's terrible. It's just a great movie gets overshadowed by this, and that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that work on the movie that don't need that bullshit. Like, they did a great job, like Zach's actor, like a real life Down syndrome actor, and this kind of overshadows that, and that's terrible. So.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
No.
Yeah, I don't think the controversy around this movie. I think it stands alone.
Movie? Well, I hope not.
I remember.
I hope not. Right.
An interview that he did with Ellen DeGeneres. He brought the actor Zach in with him to see Ellen DeGeneres, and he was just pouring praise onto the kid. And
absolutely,
he didn't want any spotlight at all.
Yeah,
and seems to have a healthy dose of humility, but also a lot of other issues.
Yeah, like I think he's actually, and even though the stuff, to further your point, Steve, I read some stuff about him, what he said and stuff, and I think he's actually really is a good person. I think he's just messed up. He had a really messed up childhood. He's a messed up guy. He's trying to sort it out. I believe that he actually truly is, but that doesn't excuse the things he's done. Yeah, I think he has been involved in domestic violence. Absolutely. He comes from domestic violence he got involved in. Hopefully he can overcome that. No excuse, but I think he actually wants to. He strikes me as the type of person that has a good heart and wants to overcome these things. And I hope he does, because I think his craft is amazing. I would like to see him for years to come. So
I really hope so.
All I got to say about
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right.
Fingers crossed. Is that Peanut Butter Falcon, gentlemen?
I think that's Peanut Butter Falcon.
Okay.
By all means, watch the movie, people.
Yes.
It's good.
Everyone should watch it.
Everyone should watch it. Thank you so much for joining us. Please join us next week, Monday at noon, when we talk about. Hold on, let me check my papers. The Midnight Sky. Now, Phil, without any spoilers, why would you pick this?
I loves me some sci-fi movies. I love them, and it's another adventure in Netflix. Buying up big stars and making a movie. So
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do sci-fi on. Let's
do
strap on our sci-fi feed bag and jump into it.
Spoiler alert, I'm going to wear this shirt for that podcast.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Thank you so much for joining us. PrimaryTheCritical.com. This is me. And these guys are...
Phil,
John.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.